Lift kit versus suspension system. Okay, first off, GenRight sells a suspension system. Okay, common terminology with people, especially off-road shops, is lift kit. Okay, and there's a couple reasons for that. Most of the time, what people want is to spend minimum buck and get a little bit more height so they can put a bigger tire on, right? Lift kit, tires, and wheels. This is your least expensive option, okay? It's what we call a puck lift. And it's literally a spacer that would go at the top of the spring to just give your vehicle a little bit more height. Typically, it's about 1.5 to 2 inches. And they give you a bunch of brackets and little sway bar links to extend what you have, that difference. And it's a very simple kit. It only takes, I don't know, an hour or two to put it in. If you got a floor jack and some power tools, you're pretty handy. And your vehicle's not rusted or beat, you can get this in pretty quick. Now, this is appropriate for somebody that wants to build a vehicle like this. So these are 35-inch tires on the stock suspension with the puck lift and added wheel fenders, okay? So with our GenRight fenders, that opens up the wheel well, plus the little puck lift. You fit the 35s, no rubbing, and this is the most important, the vehicle drives exactly like it did before you just touched it, okay? Everything else I'm going to talk about, you are changing the geometry, you're modifying everything past what the manufacturer intended, and the vehicle will never drive the same again, okay? So please hear that loud and clear. Once you go past this step, it will never drive the same. So if your wife, if it's her daily driver, and you go past this, you're gonna piss her off, all right? So don't do it, or get something else for her to drive. Next, you get springs and shocks, right? So to go up, you have to have longer shocks as well as springs. You can't just throw springs on. And the joke about these for me is you don't actually get any more travel. What they do is they give you a spacer that moves the bump stop up, so you literally have exactly the same travel. Even though the Jeep looks more rugged and off-road, you don't really have much more. And again, they give you some brackets to extend up the stock stuff so that you didn't too radically change what's happening. Now, here's what I can tell you, and the reason this picture includes a drive shaft, I just happened to find this image, is once you go past that puck lift and you go to this next stage, you've now changed the driveline angles, the steering, the brake lines. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to happen to accommodate a higher lift, okay? And you can see in this kit, all they're giving you in this kit is brake line extensions. So you're gonna undo the brake line up at the frame, and they're gonna give you this extension thing, and you're gonna re-screw it in. But it's the cheesy way to do it, okay? The point I'm getting to is you get what you pay for, okay? So if you buy a simple kit, you notice there's no control arms in this thing. All right. So even though you've lifted the vehicle, you did not correct the pinion angle, which means the drive shafts are working harder. So if you're still on the factory drive shafts, you're probably going to burn them up. So your average off-road shop, what they do is they slap this in because you didn't want to spend a lot of money, send you on your way, and after a little while you come back and you go, man, I got this terrible vibration. They're like, oh yeah, you've worn out your drivetrain. You know, like your drive shafts are shot. So you need to buy drive shafts, which are a couple grand by the time they're installed. But it's money well spent. You know, your stock stuff, depending on what you're driving, could be 15, 20 years old. So it needs to go away. All right. So that's this next step. And typically your vehicle is going to look like this. Okay. You're going to have, maybe you got to a 37-inch tire as a result of this, but it's kind of a faux off-roader. It's really a mall crawler looks, you know, to kind of give you the bare minimum. Again, all the factory control arms, okay? Next step. Here's one we found with a new track bar, new control arms that are adjustable. So this means you can fix the pinion angle, because what happens is as you lift your Jeep, the caster goes away from the front and it starts steering like a shopping cart. You know, your tires are chasing every little thing in the road because you took away the caster. So this gives you the ability to adjust that back. The downside is that your pinion is paying the price. So from the factory, your pinion's dead straight, pointed at the transfer case. As you lift the vehicle, it's going away. And then you want to add caster, now that it points down. So it's gotten dramatically worse. One of the reasons we sell aftermarket axles is they come with a pinion or C's that have been cut and turned to the proper angle for how much you're lifting it. Now, you know, if you're pretty handy with tools, you can cut and turn the C's. It's a big job. It's easily a weekend job. And you got to weld them back on correctly, you know, parallel and at the right angle, and make sure they're really stuck, the two pieces of metal together. This one comes with longer brake lines, but it's got all these brackets that are extending the track bars and other things. So here's the downside. The downside is the brackets that are on your axle or on your frame are thin metal, okay? The Jeep is designed to pass crash tests, okay? It's thin enough that it smashes up in a crash. So by putting longer pieces on it, all you've done was add more leverage. So as you're off-roading, it's just working. You know, have you ever taken a crescent wrench and just bend something back and forth till it breaks? Well, that's what you're doing, okay? So again, it serves a purpose, but you're getting what you're paying for, okay? So, and that's going to give you a Jeep that kind of looks like this. Now here's a JK on 37s, right? It's sitting a little higher. You put the big fenders on from GenRight, and you know, you've gotten more ground clearance, and you're starting to build an off-roader, right? But you've got those challenges I just talked about with the steering, the brake lines, and the drive line, okay? So those are things that will start affecting the drivability of your vehicle. Okay, next step. Here's even more radical, right? So here's bigger springs, better control arms. Now, you know, you're replacing all the control arms, the track bars, but you're getting all these compensation brackets to make this work, right? Including new shock mounts that hang lower so you can put in a bigger shock. Like there's a lot of things that, you know, these companies will sell you to say, hey, we're giving you all this flex because we put on longer springs and shocks, which, by the way, if you notice, this kit does not come with shocks, because what they know is when you get to this level, you have an opinion. And your opinion is going to be, I want Fox, I want King, I want Radflow, I want Bilstein, whatever, right? But you want whatever brand you want. You don't want to be stuck like this one where it comes with the shocks, which, by the way, are just Monroe shocks with a new sticker on them, okay? So when you get to this point, now you can choose a 2.0, a 2.5, right? You're getting more options as you increase the spending. But don't forget, on top of whatever this kit costs, shocks are another $2,000, okay? So those are, back to what I said, you're getting what you pay for, right? Now, you're still leveraging all the factory brackets, even though these look a little beefier, which is great, peace of mind, except they're still bolted to the same thin factory brackets, okay? That's what you got to keep in mind, because in a second you're going to see where I'm getting to on this. And here's what you end up with. You end up, now you got bigger tires, like 38-inch tires. You're really getting to where the thing, you know, looks more off-road capable. And for the most part it is, except the life of the components, right? Because you've bolted onto the factory brackets and the drivability, okay? Now we get to the GenRight system, okay? So when we design it, we design the whole thing as a system. So now every clearance, everything works together, where the bump stops, and we're not using, you know, cheesy foam bump stops. These are hydraulic bump stops, or commonly known as air bumps. We're using coilover shocks. We're using brand new cross members. We're using all Johnny joints, which are lubable and rebuildable. All the geometry's fixed. and I'm gonna show you a picture here in a second. We run a rear sway bar only. We reposition the gas tank, right? There's a lot of things built into us, a lot of thought. And we beef up where it attaches to the frame to extend the life, okay? So every single bracket on your frame or axles is cut off. You're getting rid of all the stock crap because it is just that. It's thin crap, okay? What we're putting on is more than double the thickness, and it's welded on good, okay? So you've now just increased the life of everything on here and taken away all those weak points. We've added bigger bolts. This is really significantly larger. By the way, this is our Elite system, okay? This is what I raced in King of the Hammers in the Unlimited class in my Jeep, okay? Which I think is, okay, so here's the whole kit, not in CAD, but do you notice how many more pieces are in this picture versus the other ones? This is a lot of stuff, including a flat belly, a gas tank, and all new control arms, Johnny joints, cross members, shock mounts, shocks. Like this, to me, this is the right way to do it. This is why I started GenRight. I was tired of trying to figure this stuff out myself as I was getting into Jeeping. And I was like, really, is it that hard for somebody to do it? Like, what the heck? And it's all grade 8 hardware, the good stuff, with unitorque nuts, proper washers, proper everything. So I'm not having to spend my weekend that I've got to work on the Jeep out at the hardware store looking for stuff. That's not cool. Okay, so one of the reasons we included this picture, this is on Sledgehammer, and one of the things about the GenRight suspension system is that we've got all the geometry right. You can't get the geometry correct by still using all the factory suspension points, okay? And our competitors can't get it right. So even if you bought somebody's long arm kit, well, they still can't get it right because they didn't move the tank to the back, or they didn't give you a tank that allows you to move the axle back. This one, because it's a double triangulated system, has no rear steer. So when I put the front tire on the obstacle, and I know my rear tire is going to follow it exactly. Okay, that's a big difference. Most people have to wheel where they put the front tire way over so that the back tire hopefully comes along on that same line. And if you've never experienced that, you certainly will at some point. Okay, that makes a huge difference. Now, that's JK. Now we're talking JL. JL, we go one step further. This is an entire chassis, okay? So this is the reason it's called EXS, is it's Elite Extreme, because it's got the same components as the Elite, but it comes with a whole new frame. And this system is designed, you know, over the top. Everything about this is over the top. Because we made our own frame, we were also able to lower it, like increase the amount of up travel by an additional 1.5 inches over what we did on the JK, which was great, okay? So we're, again, as a system, we're utilizing the Curry axles. We're maximizing everything at full stuff or articulation. On the EXS or the Elite, you can't slide a piece of cardboard in between the moving components, okay? So these things are designed exact. And the same kinds of things apply to our tracer kit. We're just not showing the tracer. We showed the frame, the rolling chassis earlier, but a lot of these same principles apply to the tracer as well. So again, because it's a JL, we move the gas tank to the back. That opens up the whole thing for the double triangulated 4-link. And this you could run 2.5 or 3-inch diameter coilovers. You can also on the Elite. And lots of really cool things happening here. Everything's more heavy duty. This frame is as thick as the frame on my 3500 pickup truck, okay? So we weren't messing around.
Anthony Piquet asked, will you release the EXS for the JK?
Eventually we are. That is on my list. So you got to remember to do something like this. So, yeah, even if we go way back, let's go way back to here, right? So this is our new JL kit, the Vector. Even for us to engine, we've spent, I don't know, we're coming on a year and a half on this, and we know what we're doing, right? I've got all the CAD models, but by the time we take into account every possible engine combination, you know, and then they throw the V6 versus the V8, like, once I figure out where the factory's gonna frickin' stop with options, then we go through and we fit all this stuff, and then we have to write the instructions and get through to make this thing into a production kit. So getting it to the point where I can back into a JK EXS is something I want to do, but it takes a lot of time. So it's on my list. We're getting there. Hopefully we get there by the time you want it. But it also makes it a lot easier, right? You could buy a complete rolling chassis from us, and you know, you didn't have to cut or weld anything. We weld it all. It's done. Done in a giant precision fixture, and nothing can move. It stays straight, and it's awesome. Okay, so here's a cool cross section that Jamie did, so you can see how flat the links stay. You know, on all those other lift kits we were talking about, you know, when the arm pivot is right here, the arms are going downhill. You know, this keeps it flat. It makes the suspension seem stable, which is, by the way, much like it was when your Jeep was stock. That's why it drove like it did, like a little skateboard. So, you know, we put a lot of energy into this to make these long travel suspension systems perform good on and off-road. Anybody can put 16-inch shocks and build a buggy and make some slinky thing that, you know, forget driving over 20 miles an hour, okay? Anybody can do that. This is something, you know, that we're driving down the highway with our family in it and off-road, okay? So, of course, this is the same setup that I have in Aftershock that we debuted, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And since then, we've been running that Jeep on overland trips, rock crawling, pre-running for King of the Hammers, basically doing as much damage to it as we could to make sure we got in super tough miles to make sure that kit's as rugged as it can be. All right, everybody, that's a great overview of the difference between a suspension system and a lift kit. And for more information, please call in, talk to my sales guys. They'd be happy to help you. Otherwise, you can visit our website at GenRight.com. And lastly, make sure you check out our Tech Talk on Wednesday. I do that every Wednesday at 5 p.m. We got a ton of information going on that show. And of course, we still have thousands of videos here on this YouTube channel. So thanks again, and hope to see you out on the trail soon.